What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the greatest podcast in the world, Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I'm your host, the dad bod god, the bald, the beard, the beautiful, and the truth, Piers Austin. Now, tonight we have a great live podcast for you lined up. We have the Australian hero, Lee Morrow, in the house. Yeah, let's hear it for Lee Morrow. Live studio audience is going nuts. But before we get into that, we need to take a quick pause for the cause to thank our sponsor for tonight's episode, and that is Sleefs.com. That is SLEEFS, Sleefs.com. Now, listen, if you or someone you know is an athlete, Sleefs.com is the place for you to go to. They have all your athletic gear and wear covered, and their stuff is the best in the world. They've got armbands, compression pants, compression shorts, headbands, boots, mouth guards, and, you know, they've got the truth's favorite, the dirty boxes. And I gotta say, these dirty boxes are incredible. They stay dry, they stay fresh, and they got the funky designs on the front of them to keep Mrs. Truth laughing on what's on the front and not what's on the inside of the boxes. So go and check them out at sleefs.com. Use that promo code MWAPOD to get a 10% discount at your final purchase. Also, wherever you tune in, make sure you smash that like, share, subscribe, all that good shit, because you know we're bringing you the best podcast in the world, the greatest podcast in the world. Excuse me, I got to correct myself sometimes, but make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share, all that good shit, because we're bringing you some amazing content here. Also, if you're listening on podcast platform, please give us a 5-star review, because it helps us reach more people with more amazing content, with more amazing conversations to more amazing people. But without further ado, let's get into it with my conversation with the one, the only, the Australian hero, baby, Lee Morrow. Welcome back to the greatest podcast in the world, Shooting the Shit Uncensored, and I am with one of my favorite people in the entire world. And I know I said that every guest I have on, but this time I actually mean it. Lee Morrow, welcome back, brother. It's great to see you again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me on. One of the illustrious, esteemed people that is one of your favorite people, but pleasure to be back. And I think since the last time we spoke, I've been itching to come back, and
yeah.
You know, hopefully I don't get kicked off any other company shows, but after this one.
Let's talk. Yeah, well, let's just dive straight into that, because, like, since you brought it up, right? So, all right. So you came on the podcast 10 months ago, right? So, one of my producers, Alex, was actually looked it up, figured it out, and went back to the date. It was 10 months ago. Okay. And so, what happened in that podcast 10 months ago that cost you a booking or got you kicked off a show?
Okay, so I do have to kind of remind myself that I still have friends in that company. So here we go. So in the last time we spoke, I mentioned how about 6 months into my wrestling journey, if you will, I went to a hardcore Holly seminar. Me and another person that went kind of got a bit embarrassed, more so by the way that we were trained those first 6 months. Like, for an example, it was when we were going to lock up, we went parallel feet. If you sort of know wrestling, it's not exactly what you should be doing. I mentioned that on the podcast. It got back to the head honcho of that particular school and company. And what was it? It was I went and wrestled in Canberra in front of like 500 plus people. Awesome night, one of the best nights of my career. And then the next morning I wake up and one of the boys goes, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're not needed on the next show." And yeah, and then after that I never went back. And maybe it was a blessing. Yeah, maybe it was a blessing, to be honest, because I ended up quitting the school, I think, like a couple of days later. So it was very disappointing, I think, more so because that particular place was my home fed, the place that I really started out with. And I think it was disappointing, but also I think it was kind of a blessing in the way of I felt personally that I got strung along for years and years and years. And many of the people that wrestled there as well got strung along. And I think it was kind of like it was a blessing in disguise because it happened. And I kicked off and then I left. And then, happily ever after, as they say after that.
But you know what? Sometimes, like when you finally like cut the cord with certain people, you don't realize. You know what I mean? Like that sometimes it can actually be a good thing to actually do that. It might be scary at first, but once you do it, you go, "Hey, you know what I mean? It's not that bad."
Of course, it'd be the same thing as being in a relationship and being too afraid to leave, or like a job that you, or in all admittance you hate, but you're still afraid to leave because it's the fear of the unknown, or like stepping out into sort of into a new chapter. Because we're all not all of us, but like a good chunk of us, change is very hard to sort of accept sometimes.
Sure. I mean, like as we see in the chat, can you tell us who the Fed is?
VCW. There you go.
VCW.
There you go.
Okay, so VCW, I don't know too much about them, to be honest. And I feel like for the most part, like a lot, they're like, and I think we spoke about this. We may have touched on this on the first time. Is like I feel like VCW have their crew of like performers, and like they don't really branch outside of that too often.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Yeah, so it's a lot of, I think too, a lot of their roster aren't like a lot of them. They're not. Their goal isn't to try to wrestle for other companies or try to like get to like a television company like WWE, AEW. Some of them it is, and I mean, if that's what they want to stick with, that's fine as well. But a lot of them, like, look, as I said, it's a lot of like I got a lot of friends that got like married with kids, and like they just want to like wrestle once every good few months, and that's fine. Like that's what they want to do. If that's how they want wrestling to go, that's not the way I want it. But like if they just want to wrestle every few months, do it in front of friends and family, that's fine. Like, look, it did burn me pretty badly at the time, but at the same time, I do appreciate. Like they had, what was it? Maybe a year or so ago, they had it was a special that was on NITV, then ended up on SBS On Demand, and like I appreciate that I wrestled the guy they brought in to main event the show. So I can't be like, oh, fuck VCW, because really, like I owe a lot to John in the way of like learning. I think too, like as a person, as a man.
Sure.
Do I feel like I kind of got fucked over a little bit? Yeah, but do I think I deserved it to a certain degree? I think so too. It's a bit.
I mean, like did he feel like you basically came on here and said like, yeah, my training was shit? Like, is that how he felt? He took what you said? Because it kind of like that's some personal shit to say. Yeah. Fuck off! Like we don't want you around here anymore. Like, I mean, he's taken it pretty to heart. Like, is that the level he took it on?
I never spoke to him about it after, and so I've just heard it through other people.
Sure.
I totally see it from his side because, unfortunately, in the telling of the story and the journey and stuff, I've of course have not unintentionally buried the school, which I understand. Like I understand, like his side.
Like it wasn't your intent to do that, but that's what you did.
But like, if I was running a school and a guy, even if it was inadvertent buried a school, I probably would tell him to fuck off too. So it's kind of like a bit of hurt on both sides, but I think we've both gone on to better things because of what happened.
Sure. Have you spoken since?
I have not spoken to John since the podcast. Just, I know it's like some of the boys that are there have vouched for me multiple times to go back, but it's not something that I'm really like, it's not something really high on my list. Like,
yeah,
because it can't, like, as you would know, like, the more places you wrestle, the more like mentally it can take out of you as well. Because I mean, like I said, you would know there's a lot of bullshit that comes with the more places you wrestle, the more bullshit you have to put up with.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. It's every place has its own little nuances, but and I think for the most part, like, you have to look at it, weigh it up as like, is this taking too much energy out of me in a negative way? Do I need to sort of step back from it and go, hey, you know what I mean? Like, I'm getting too sucked in here.
I would 100% agree with that. Like, in reference to this year, like, I went away to America.
Yeah.
I really I put like everything, I made all my mental energy in there. Like, it really, like, some points that like it just absolutely killed me. I came back. I thought maybe like, my positioning would change a little bit because of what I'd done. And then I came back and then nothing's really changed. And then like I went away, came back, pretty much lost the job that I had. And I think too, for me, like on a personal level, turning 31 kind of fucked with me a little bit. I think more so looking at, for me, I want to get to the next level, but as you get older, especially like once you hit 30, they say it's like, oh, it's your prime years, but every year after that, it's kind of like the door more and more closes every year. And so I think for me, it has kind of fucked with me mentally this year because I feel that sort of I feel that pressure to like, if I want something to happen, it kind of has to happen in the next few years. Otherwise, it's like, fuck, I may as well just do something else totally different, or like invest mentally into something else.
Yeah. And I get that. And sometimes, people go through that where they go, you know what, I've just had enough of this. This is now time for me to sort of, step away from it. And you can see with certain people that are on the cusp of that at times. Do you feel, like, actually, let me say this. I feel, let me be honest here about you as a performer and as a character. I think you probably have one of the best gimmicks in Australia. I think you have one of you look like a wrestler. You have the gimmick. You have that Hogan old school vibe, but also like that modern sort of feel to it. I think you like, as far as signability goes, like you have that written all over you. But
thank you. Yeah, thank you. I do appreciate it. But please go on.
Please. But let me ask you this. The feds that are getting scouted, you're not wrestling there. Is that on the cards? Is that the next step?
Are you referencing to the Australian companies? Is that what you're referencing?
I'm referencing to companies here in Australia, because I feel like that is probably something. I mean, traveling over to America and uprooting your entire life over there, that takes a lot of time, and a lot of money and everything like that. But while you're here, is that something that is on your next step, to be in those feds that have the eyes of scouts on them?
In terms of like Sydney or New South Wales, I've kind of gone up and down in the way of do I want to go to more the specific? Do I want to go to PWA? Like, do I want to go there? I don't know. I know and there's like Newcastle, like Newey Pro. Like, I know for a fact, and I've literally seen it, that those two companies are ones, in terms of New South Wales, are ones that people like talent scouts have turned up to. I've seen it before.
Sure.
It's funny because it's like I want to make it, but at the same time, I don't want to go there. I just still don't want to go there. I've tried very hard, like since I've come back, to try to get onto bigger shows, like in Australia, like bigger companies, and like I've used like my connections in America. I've used like connections, the other people I've known, and it's unfortunately because I don't have like someone as my in, that I've kind of like, I'm fighting a battle that I won't be able to win, if you get what I mean. And I think that's the thing that's really frustrated me that I've come back, is I've tried very hard to try to get something going interstate, and again, using the connections I have, and I appreciate anyone that's ever put in a word for me, or because at the end they don't owe me shit, but it's just without being tied to, say, the number one company in Sydney, which is PWA. It's a lot. I don't even know if I would say it's a lot harder. It's more so it hasn't been enough on face value as to what I did from January, April, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, 100%, man, 100%. And what is it that the reason that you don't want to go there is? Is it something that cuts you off there for overall, you say you don't want to go there to get to that sort of that upper echelon. You are breaking through to those next shows, but is there a particular reason why? Is there something stopping you from doing that?
There's probably some things that have been my own fault, but I think too, there's a select few people that I don't really want to sort of be associated with. Not in the way of they're bad people. I've just had bad run-ins with certain people, I've had people that have been friends with me, and then I think they've been very. I think they thought that we were a lot closer than we actually were, and I was polite, and then they came to their own conclusion. Oh, he doesn't want to, he doesn't want anything to do with me at all, and then they've gone. And when I've gone to go wrestle on other shows, they've gone to the promoter and said, I do not want him on this show. And then luckily at that same time, the promoter, just little shows, has just said, no, I want him on this show. And there's other things, like I said, there's stupid things that I've done, that have made strained relationships with people that are there. And I think for me, it's do I want to push through sort of issues like that to go there? And I think too, as well, the training, I'm not shitting on the training at all. The training is not really my type of style, if you get what I mean. When I went to America, it was very simple. It was very straightforward. It was making sure that your fundamentals are perfect, very basic. It wasn't really a lot of showing you a lot of the fancier stuff. I know a lot of, say, places like PW, they love showing a lot of, teaching a lot of the lucha stuff and more that type of stuff. And then the thing is, that's not my strength. And so there's some of the stuff they teach is like a certain way. And then I can't wrestle that way because I'm not that good a wrestler. I do, like, as you said, like I do all of the character stuff, which can work on those shows. But
of course.
But then it's like they wrestle a certain way. I don't wrestle that way. And so it's like, I don't know. It's just, there's a lot more things that are kind of, for me personally, that are telling me like that this particular place isn't for me. And that's not a knock alike of either people. Like I've like,
no, you can,
like, yeah.
Like, but do you feel like the having to push through certain things is, do you think that is something that is there that would be something that you would be facing, or do you think that could be something that you're just building up inside yourself?
I think a lot of this probably like in my own head as well. If I'm being honest, like where there's probably like some people that like don't give a shit about things that happen, but then there's the thing of that I lived through, like as we discussed, like I know there was like 2 or 3 years ago, whatever it was now, with the issue where there was like I had a social media issue, and I've had people that say, oh, like that was so long ago, like, you should be able to just, it was so long ago, like just, people have forgotten about, but those people weren't the people that lived that situation. Like at that time, it was like, I had people messaging me like, oh, like just messaging me on the blue, like just harassing me. And it's
Seriously?
like, yeah, like, I mean, mind you, it was a good few years ago, but then it's like people go, oh, just don't worry about like, just get on the shows. I was like, I was the one that had to live. I was the one that had to live that. And then, so it's, it has made me hesitant to go to certain companies because of run-ins I've had with people, which could be, and like I said before, that could be something that has really stopped me from trying to pursue going to other companies, more the bigger ones. And like,
But let's face it like this, bro. Like if you went there and you went and trained there, like how people really are, like, man, no one's gonna say shit to your face. Like no one's gonna say nothing to you. You know what I mean? Like people feel more comfortable sitting behind a phone or a keyboard and being as tough as they fucking can. But like, dude, you are fucking huge. Like seriously, like who the fuck is going to come up to you and like, hey man, we need to fucking talk, Morrow. Like, bro, it ain't gonna happen like that. It ain't gonna happen like that, bro. Because like in majority, like, bro, like there's no toughness in pro wrestling. Come on, bro. Like the fucking that bullshit's long gone. No one's gonna do that shit.
Yeah.
And you know what, bro? Like, bro, walk through that fucking door, bro. I would laugh if someone came up and went, you know what? Hey, fuck you. I would fall off my chair, bro. I would not believe it.
I think it's just, I think it's my own, like, I think it's my own anxiety that has kind of probably has made like the thought of the situations worse, I think, to a certain degree. Like, I don't know if like we spoke about in the last show, like, certain things have happened in my life that have molded me into a particular type of person, where when I probably talk about this on my socials like a broken record, but I had to live it. Like 16, 17 years ago, like my father died of cancer, like when I was in year 8. And that was something that really shaped me as a person. And I think in a bad way, certain values that I kind of held on to, and I wouldn't even call them values because they're more, as I say, emotional baggage, crutches. Like again, if we're going really oddly personal, sure, we'll just go oddly personal now. I found it very. I struggled to start a relationship with someone, like a, I don't even call it, like a, not like a relationship, like in like a relationship with a, for me personally, it's a woman, and I found that hasn't been until the last couple of years that I was able to overcome a lot of stuff to be able to pursue something like that. And I think for me, that it's stuff like that where I think it's a fear of like rejection, it's a fear of failure, stemmed from that, which, I think it's taken me years to sort of work out. It was even like the thing which is funny when, I don't know why I'm going to bring this up, but sure, we'll do it anyway. When I was in America, we had John Cena visit the camp, and he came and visited the camp as the camp guest, and his thing, he asked everyone in the group, he just said, what was your thing that you feel like is holding you back? And everyone gave particular answers, and I shot my hand up and I just said, fear of failure. And I think for me, it's fear of failure and fear of rejection are the two things that kind of have really held me back in terms of life, in terms of wrestling personally. And I think still someone like that is 31, it's still something that I have to still push through every day. It's better than it ever was, but it's something that I think is really, like, I think the psychological trauma in my childhood was the thing that has really still affected me as an adult. That it, like I said, I think it has affected my wrestling career. I wouldn't say to a certain degree. I think it has affected it to quite a big degree. Like, I think there's the thing of, if I go to somewhere like PWA, I think for me, it's the fear of rejection, like in multiple different ways, that I think is enough. It's probably enough for me where it's like, you know what, I'm going to take a different avenue. If we're being honest, there is many other different aspects, but I think the two, it's because of the run-ins I've had with people that it has that fear of being rejected by, like, not just by particular people, but I think it has affected me in terms of wrestling. I got really.
We got deep there. We got deep. And you know what, bro? I cut out there, bro, and everyone in the chat is just like going that you are like saying I love you and want to hug you and stuff like that, bro. And I know I sort of came in the tail end of that, and I apologize for
that was odd because I thought you were like, all right, we're just gonna push this over and he'll be in the middle of the thing. No.
I'm so glad because I cut out there. And I'm like, I'm sitting in the background like, go motherfuck this.
Yeah.
We're back. But dude, like, I feel like, if that's the case, man, like, you need to address that shit. You need to go and deal with it because, bro, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want? How bad do you want to get signed? How bad do you want to go overseas?
Like, I think there's the thing of like,
Sorry, bud. Take a second.
I can't. I don't want to like. I don't want to reveal myself too much. I've already done.
No,
I think I've already done it. I think for me, like that's what I think has affected like a lot of like my mental health is because the thing of how like it just influences me how badly I want to make it, but it's just that's the thing. That's what I've struggled with this past year is that I want how badly I want to make it, but then this, as you said before, it's hard because of how much I have to try to push through in order to progress. Like for me, like I wouldn't have where I went away in January, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I wouldn't have been able to do it without my partner Sophie, because I don't think I would have been able to mentally go over there and do it because because I was so worried, or fearful that nothing would happen at the end of it. And I think it's the thing that really I've struggled with this year was I think I had this blind hope that by the end of the camp that I went on that something would possibly happen. And then it was kind of mentioned at the beginning of the camp. They were said, oh, look, everyone will get an opportunity. But then he turned towards me and two other guys and he said, well, I'm not too sure about you guys because in reality, to get a tryout or a dark match, you need a visa. You need a work visa. Even though it's technically, I even said to them, I'll do it for free. It doesn't matter. It's the perception is, or they see it as work. And there's the thing is if you get caught working, it's literally wrestling dreams over. And then as well, they say AEW, they don't want to get into trouble as well.
100%, yeah.
But it was still said to me, they said, oh, look, we'll work out something for you. And then it was we'll work out something for you. And then, of course, unfortunately, nothing happened at the end. And I understand, I don't know if it was maybe I didn't put myself out there enough. There was, I could probably give you 5,000 excuses of why nothing happened in the end. But I think I held on to the hope that something would happen in the end. I don't think unless you were an absolute diamond in the rough, one of a million talent, nothing was ever going to happen even if I was an American, nothing, no one would get signed from a 12-week, in all intents and purposes, a beginner's camp. But I think I still had the hope that something would happen from it. And then I had to face the reality that nothing happened from it. And I think that's been a bit of a struggle for me this year. And there was pretty much the advice was okay, what do we do? How do we get noticed? And then they just went, oh, you got to go home, you got to do following, you got to get over. And it just felt like just such an uphill battle since I've come home to even get to that. Because it's just I hate using this word, but I'll use it. It's wrestling is very political, and it's, you can if you want to see how political it is, I was the first Australian to ever complete the Nightmare Factory camp. Literally trained, bumped around, locked up, tied up, with all that bullshit with a guy who main event WrestleMania mere weeks later. Done something that no one in this country's ever done. And I came back and no one gave a fuck because that's just not how it works.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Again, yeah.
unfortunately, did you think coming back here that like everything was going to be different for you? Like, do you think that it was like people were going to see you through this different lens after going through the Nightmare Factory training?
I think that was the hope, and like I know, like it, like there has been some people that have looked at me like that, like that, like they've seen me like in a different way because they've seen how, say, like someone who I think it was you had him on here recently, and I want to give him all the credit in the world. Is Hunter Hayes, or Luke? Fuck it, who cares? He right at the end before, like in December, right before I went, he gave me $500 like towards my trip.
Wow.
And like this guy didn't owe me anything. He didn't have to give two shits. But he saw like the effort that I was putting in, and he just said, like, I didn't want to take it. And he just he flat out refused to not accept it. And he gave it to me, and then just because he respected that I've went to that effort to try to just to go over there, because it's something like he went to the Dudley school like multiple times, like he's gone and like made the effort to go over to America and stuff, and like I can never repay how much, like, for a guy who's like, I was never a student, because I'm a Sydney boy, and he's from the school and everything's in Wollongong. I can never repay how much
wow
faith this guy put in me when he owed me absolutely nothing.
That is unbelievable, man. And that kind of like, I feel, and I've said this before, like, to many people, and that I feel like the wrestling business would be a better place if there was more Hunter Hayes in it. You know what I mean? And I genuinely mean that. Like, he is he is definitely one of the people that the times that I've had the pleasure of speaking to him, is just a very just kind human being.
Oh, absolutely. Like, he does like incredible work in the way of like with wrestling, but like he does even more like incredible work. I don't know if he mentioned this on the podcast before, but like he does like even more like incredible work, and he's like in his his personal time, like he runs like a business with like that helps disability clients and stuff. Like he's like he's doing he's done amazing things in the wrestling, but he's doing like even more amazing things like in just personal life with his own business. Yeah,
100%. I can't say a lot of anything negative about him. I don't think I've ever heard a bad word about him. We sort of got a little bit emotional there. Well, you got a little bit emotional in there.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that if I sort of triggered some emotion out of you or something, in the question. Definitely wasn't my intention to upset you in any way. So I apologize in that.
That's okay. Like, I think I couldn't bullshit you on the answer, the question that you gave me. I couldn't. I think I probably could have been even more candid than I was than I answered your question, but I think,
dude, I just, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I really have to commend you for just how you've opened up, and I feel like in a world where like that we can now start opening up, bro, to come and do that on a live platform like this. Like, bro, that takes so much fucking courage, bro. Like, honestly, bro, for you to do that and for you to open up the way you have, bro, like, honestly, man, you're a real fucking man, bro, in my eyes, bro. Like, to be able to do that, dude, that is the fucking play. And you know what, bro? Like, even Joey in the chat said, this is shooting the shit. This is the place to open, bro. And, absolutely, man. But dude, like, I want you to feel like walking away from this and everything, like, you to open up and open yourself up and expose yourself like you have here tonight so far is truly commendable. And I really I can't take my hat off enough for you, man. Like honestly, it is. And and for me, bro, like I said at the beginning when we started getting into this, I do think you are the most you have the most signability. You have the look of a professional wrestler. You know what I mean? Like you just looking at you, you look like a guy who's a professional wrestler. You look
probably not right now though, but
but you've got the gimmick, you've got the look. You can go in the ring, and your character is on point. Your promos are on point. So, like for me, I just feel like, bro, you need to get the fuck out of your own head and just like, and if you just fucking tunnel vision that shit, bro, like straight out, you tunnel vision that shit straight the fuck out, bro. Dude, like, man, I want to see you get signed, bro. Like, I feel like that's the biggest thing. And like, I would like to see that. And I feel like there's a lot of people in Australian wrestling that would like to see that as well.
I think for me, it's like for the past however long I've been doing this for, like 7-8 years or whatever, I think for a lot of it was to bring, like, it was selfish reason. Like I wanted to make it because I love wrestling and that's what I want to do. That was my goal, my dream. I think that I've realized that I have to try to push as much as I can because I think I owe it. To like the people that never gave up on me when, like, there's probably a lot of times that I've wanted to give up on myself. Like people like my mom and but it's just very hard. Like it's the same thing. Like I've spoken with people. It's very like, it's like acting. It's just, you just got to keep trying to put, I know like you can go certain ways, but then like at the same time, it's just sometimes you just got to keep pushing until you can get that sort of break. Does it happen for everyone? No, but like as you said, like half the time it's just, I'm in my own head and it's just.
But you know what the thing is, and bro, like I'm going to give you, I'll tell you something that I got told by Stevie Richards. And he told me, he goes, the people who go far in wrestling are the people who don't fucking need it. He goes, bro, he told me his whole like right to censor gimmick, right? Like he had one foot out the fucking door. Like he was like 1 month away from getting released, and he started doing other shit. Like he was foreseeing this shit, so he started planning his life outside of WWE. Well, as soon as he had all of his ducks in a row, hey man, we got this idea for you, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and he's like, well, fuck, why not? Like, bro, like, like, enjoy the moment, enjoy these moments of going there and like, and having fun and not getting in your head, like going over to the States, bro, get that money behind you, bro, go back over there, work those feds, bro, do the indies, do all of that shit, bro. You know what I mean? But have fun doing it, man. Like if that's what you want to do, have fun with it. But bro, if you're not having fun with it and you're just doing it because you hope to get fame and fortune one day from it, then bro, like you got to question what you want. But like, bro, have fun and enjoy the process, bro. You're very young as well, bro. Like people are getting signed well into their mid to late 30s, bro. Like don't worry about that shit. Just go and have fun. Please, bro.
I think I will admit, thank God that I had like my partner Sophie when I was over there. I think that was what, and I do feel very bad for her that that there was a lot of times that were ruined in our trip to America because it was constantly felt like the pressure of like, oh, every time I need to go there, I need to be, I need to be the best I can. Like, I need to have a good showing. And I, like, I had this one time and like where we had to do a practice match at the camp, and I got partnered with, it was like, I got absolutely nothing wrong with the guy, but there was a guy that was part of the camp that didn't have an athletic bone in his body, could barely back bump, and it was like we wrestled probably 6 minutes of the worst wrestling I've ever done in my entire life, and probably the worst wrestling that I think I've ever, like, if I don't think I even I think like I had the girlfriend video it like on the sly, and I just said, I'm not going to watch that. Like, just he ended up busting my lip. I ended up busting his lip. I got so just fucking mad. I think I just remember just breaking down in the car, like, on the way home. I think because I was just so frustrated, because it was like, okay, another day down, another day where it's like the opportunity has kind of, like, the opportunity to impress has gone again. But I think it was funny at the same time that QT Marshall was there and, like, actually felt bad for me because of how bad it was because of the guy I was in there with. But, like, as I mentioned before, it was one of those things where it's like so many times I just couldn't enjoy myself there because I was so focused on every day that I'm there. If something fucking goes wrong, or, time gets wasted, all right, there's another minute gone past, there's another hour gone past of, like, we are closer and closer to getting that back on that plane back to Australia and being on the literally on the other side of the world. And I think that was the thing, that I did enjoy the time I had, but at the same time, it made me fucking miserable because I was trying so fucking hard. And, like, as you said, like, and it's one of those things, like, once you, as you said, it's like, and I hope that it's, especially, I know, like, the years, we only got a couple of months left next year, like, till the end of this year. I kind of hope that at least next year that I can kind of get into that mindset of not thinking like being so stressed about it that it makes me miserable. Because if I'm being honest, anytime anyone asks me about wrestling now, I go, I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. Like, just, I fucking hate it. I fucking hate every show I do. Fucking hate every promo I do. Like, it's every Sunday morning I wake up fucking depressed as shit because, like, something's gone wrong, or, like, I know it sounds really marky. I've had to put someone over. Like, I've got no problem putting people over, but at the same time, it's like, I think because in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, every show that I'm not, like, and it sounds selfish as fuck too, every show I'm not featured prominently or anything, it's like, oh, that's another weekend down that, like, I could have been elevated or, like, showcased better. But, and I'm probably been so fucking miserable all this year to, like, most people are, like, around me that I know, because that's just how the whole year has been. And, like, and like I said, I hope next year is, like, a year where I can kind of, like, mellow out a little bit and just, like, enjoy it. And, like, as you said, when you stop giving a shit, that's, like, when things happen. But it's just been very hard to kind of take that on board, like, particularly this year. Like, part of me took a video of me blowing up my candles on my birthday this year, and it upset me seeing how sad I was. I think at the realization of what I turned, because I feel 30 feels like a nice round number, then like 31 feels like I've turned 40 in terms of wrestling. But I think for me, I think I'm just trying to ride out to the end of the year, and then try to save some money, hopefully go overseas again next year somewhere. And I don't know, it's just so unpredictable, and you can't predict any of this stuff. Like I could have absolutely no opportunity one weekend, and then the next weekend, or like a couple hours later, someone messaged me and go, "Hey, do you want to do the show?" And it was like when I came back from America, I wrestled a slam show, from Slam Pro Wrestling League show. It was like 500 plus people, and then I wasn't booked for the next one, and then it was like just one random point, they went, someone pulled out, do you want to wrestle? And then I ended up the next show, I ended up wrestling in front of like 700 plus people. So it's I think it's the thing that probably like is exciting, but also very frustrating, is wrestling is so unpredictable in a good way and a bad way.
You might not need to get booked on every show. They might not, need that, and that's okay. Like, it's okay. And dude, like, if you're like, dude, it just sounds like, you like wrestling is just, you're putting too much of the mental into it, bro. And, I hope you don't mind, but I actually have someone joining us here, and it's actually the one.
Oh God, who?
Hunter Hayes.
I didn't know what that feedback was for a second.
Hunter Hayes,
very good.
Bro. Thank you for jumping. You reached out privately to me, and I asked if you would like to join, and he said yes. So I take it you'd like to say something to.
Oh no, I just think he's just got to back himself. Like there's a lot of similarities, like that everyone goes through with question themselves, especially the trips the 4 or 5 trips that I like, just the 4 training trips that I went over. And yes, you said some very kind words about me, and I really obviously appreciate it. But mate, I told you when I presented you all that in the ring, like I said the same thing. And this is me being completely honest. The first time Wahlberg wrestled on my show, and that was in the school show in my second school, but we could only fit 100 odd people in there. I bring him out the back and said to the rest of the boys, well, you guys need to take note. This guy's going to be signed in the next couple of years because he just had it in droves. And you need to realize that you've got the exact same thing, the same as what Piers is telling you. You've got it in droves too. And I like, there's been other people that have been signed and they deserve all the credit in the world. And I don't know them personally, and I haven't come across them. But you got everything going for you. I told you, and you just sometimes it is a battle in our head, but warriors find a way, and you got to stop worrying up in the brain and just show that warrior spirit that I know you got, man, because you look better than everyone else that's on the shows. The style that you're working is, I believe, the style that has never been broken in pro wrestling and never will be, and it's the bread and butter. And you understand it, you get it, and look at us, like, and you can't worry about the rest of the things, where opportunities come and go in other promotions. You gotta do your own journey. And I know that's quite a cliche clip, but you just got to always bet on yourself, mate. When you bet on yourself and you get outside of your comfort zone, that's where magic happens. And you also got to reevaluate all the time. So don't let that pressure be on you. And you're going to have those moments where, where you're going to have those moments when you do second guess yourself and you question your purpose and whatever. But I know that you've got many reasons for wanting to do it, but you just need to know that you've got it, and that's all that matters. And this is wrestling. This isn't wrestling with friends. This is the wrestling business. And it's like you coming into my rock and roll family, and we're all, brothers and look after each other down there. Like, anyone is welcome there. They've just got to have the right attitude. I'm big on the right look. They've got to be trained properly. They've got to be safe. And I don't mind, being, generous or kind when I someone needs that little vibe of needing to see that, hey, you're not the only one invested in yourself. There's someone else that sees someone else in me. Because DDP always taught me when he, he's always been really good to me. But I was like, why are you even helping me out? And he's like, don't you see, we're the same person as far as wanting to help people, and you can't underestimate the power in making someone believe that you believe in them. So that's what you got to do. It's the same as I said to Piers when I was talking on the show before. It's like people were shitting on him because they were thinking people were trying to do things with people's stories and whatnot. He's just given a platform, and no one else is doing it in Australia. So why are you got to shit on someone else for providing an opportunity for people to have something else to tune into? You know what I mean? Keep doing what you're doing. I admire all your efforts that you're coming down here with us. I know, you and Connor have got a good thing going. He's even coming down and teaching the guys, down at my school, what he's learned over there, and him and the old bachelor are doing a good job, trying to put it in. And it's just, you've got to be worried about the people, even if you get through to one person, mate. And that hopefully, like what I said to you in the ring that night, really hits home to you. As long as they get through to you, man, just believe in it, dream it, believe it, be it, and run your own race, and you'll get there, man. You'll get there. And also remember, it's okay to change the goalposts every now and again too, you know what I mean?
And that's something that you mentioned on the podcast when we spoke last time, is like how the goalposts for you changed throughout your career over the years.
Yeah. And I've still got unfinished business within wrestling, but my goals aren't WWE and et cetera. But you got a beautiful partner. I've got a lot of time for both of you. He's a good human beings, and I just think you just got to, run your own race. You got her in your corner, and don't doubt yourself, man. I tell you, like Wahlberg signed, and I agree with everything that Piers said tonight. You're next in line, brother, and you just got to believe it and just keep doing what you're doing and back yourself, because you can't on that stage when you get your opportunity, you just got to take it, take it by the horns and go for it, brother. But you got it. Much love, Tears. I'll let you wrap it up, but
Thank you,
job.
man.
Keep it going, all right?
Thank you.
And
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Pure, genuine, great podcast too. Like, it's good to see someone get in here and not just blow smoke up their own ass. So, very good. See you, fellas. Love to you all.
See you later, mate.
Thank you, man.
See you, fellas.
Love you, Hunter. Take care, brother. But again, Hunter Hayes just sort of wanting to sort of jump in there and sort of like reiterate and sort of set things, really into perspective for you, man. And I hope that's happened tonight, eh? Like I honestly do. Like, and just even putting it out there, like if you don't feel like you can go to like a PWA, for example, like, mate, like if you have nothing tying you down in Sydney, why not go to Melbourne or travel? Go to somewhere else in Australia, or maybe like if you've got a weekend off, travel up to Perth or these other places and go and try and check out EPW or MCW. All these other places, bro, because you might sit there and go, far out, I don't mind it around here. And as selfish, I like as selfish as I don't want to see you leave the New South Wales scene, but to see you happy and prospering in the business is something that I'd much rather see. You know what I mean? So I definitely think you've got some amazing talent, bro, and everything that Hunter has said there, bro. I've said earlier, and everyone in the chat has been in agreement.
Jeez, Jesus, is this live?
We're live, baby. We're live, baby. We're shooting the shit uncensored live. This is what it's all about, man. Like this is it, bro.
Am I the first person to cry in this podcast? Or
no?
Damn it,
no.
Like I didn't. I think what's been interesting about this talk is I kind of started it. I think I was starting it where I was like, wasn't fully honest. Not like I was honest, but not like open. And it's kind of like, I feel like you've kind of chipped away at me enough to where I think once you hit me with the question of like, do you want to get signed? And it's one of those things where like, You're not the first. You're not the first man I've cried in front of. I cried in front of Cody Rhodes, so I've cried in front of plenty of people.
You're not the first fully grown man to cry in front of me, bro. And don't worry, bro. No one was watching. It was just me. But like, dude, fuck it, man. Like that, we're men, bro. We have to get that emotion out, bro. That sometimes that comes out. That I think tonight it's showing how bad you fucking do want it.
Yeah.
Like, if we're being honest, bro, it shows how bad you fucking want it. Like let's be real here. And do you think? Let me ask you this: as far as talent in Australia, as far as talent in PWA, Nui Pro, MCW, EPW, all these top promotions, all these premier feds. Do you think you're as good as the talent that is being showcased on those feds?
And again, this might sound arrogant. I'm not the best wrestler. I'm not the best talker. I don't have the best body. But I think for me personally, I feel that there's a combination of like talking ability, wrestling ability, look. It's kind of like I feel like I have enough of them to come together, which I don't know how many other people, again, probably gonna sound arrogant, I don't know how many other people in this country are like that. Like I'm not the best at anything, but I feel I tick enough boxes enough to warrant being put on, like, to be elevated, if you get what I mean.
Bro, you know what? This is a cosmetic business, bro. Like, honestly, and you know what it is? Like, you need to fucking, like, dude, bro, just go look in the fucking mirror, bro. Like, bro, if I could look like you, bro, if I could look like you for like 12 hours, the shit that I would cause. But, bro, listen, like, just, you know what I mean? Like, dude, have the fucking confidence. Yeah, bro. Go out and get that. Like, you know what I mean? Go out and become the best in ring, bro. Go out and push yourself for this shit, bro. You've gone and invested all this money to go over to the Nightmare Factory less than 12 months ago, bro. Like, no, like giving up is not an option for you right now, dude. You got to keep fucking going at this. You were close, like, push through. Yeah, but do you think you are as good as these talents?
There's people out there that I will definitely say, I don't know. It's like there's certain people that I'll say that we're not going to name names. I don't want to bury people because I still like rate them. I feel like there's like, okay, this person's a better wrestler than me, but I'm a better talker. This guy's a better talker than me, but I have a better look. That sort of, I feel like there's people who are very talented in this country who are missing something, but I personally feel I have enough of a bit of everything to come together where I feel like I have a bit over a lot of other people. Bit arrogant, but we'll
mate,
go
we just had Hunter Hayes saying you have fucking it, bro. Like, I think we got to like go back and look at this in perspective a little bit. But in all honesty, bro, I feel like, where you've come now, like what's the next step? Like where do you go from here? Like, what does Lee Morrow's 2024 look like?
I think the main goal is to try to go somewhere again, like overseas. I don't know fully if it's America. I don't know how, like, I don't know if I would stay for as long as I did, like, even from January. One, it's financially, it's a fucking kills you. But then I don't know. I've had like friends recommend that I should go to England. Like a place I would love to go, even just for the experience, would be to go Japan. But Japan's like, you probably might be aware. It's like, if you don't know anyone, it's like you don't, like, if you don't know anyone, you don't, like, you can't get anywhere. And as well, like, not a bit racist. It's like it's a very majority non-speaking, non-English speaking sort of country. So it makes it like that even more harder.
Sure.
I have personally like toyed with the idea of moving to another state, like I think I would like to find a happy medium in the way of that will work for my partner, but also work for me. But like find a balance. Like I'm not if I move somewhere, it's not because I just want to move for the sake of it. There is an ulterior motive when it comes to it. But I feel like since I've come back from America, as like Hunter said, the goalposts have changed, and I think as well, it's kind of like I don't know where the goalposts are. Like through certain stuff, like I thought for a while, like I would, there'd be some sort of platform in New South Wales, and for me, without going to certain places, and then I feel like it may not work sort of here, but then if I go to another state, I don't know if it would work there. And then, it's one of those things where I don't know. There's no real specific like answer because I don't know. Like I don't know what will work for me. And I've had friends, especially since I went over to America, and it sort of went the way it sort of went, that I don't know. Like I can't. Like I've got certain like if there was a lot more clearer path for me. Like if it was anywhere, I feel like if I was going to move anywhere, it probably would be Melbourne. The partner, I don't know if she would want to move to Melbourne, which would be the issue, because Melbourne is somewhere that like a lot of like you look at all the talent that are like signed with television companies. A lot of them, or a good chunk of them, have come from Melbourne or wrestled mainly in Melbourne, like especially for MCW and those type of companies. But I wish I could give you like a more specific answer, but at the same time, I don't fully know. I think for me, it's just spend the next few months, save your money, trying to see where everything sort of goes, and then like try to work out where to go go next year.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yep.
Well, man, look, I think we wrap it up, man. Like we gone for an hour, man. I think like it got deep very quick.
I was gonna say, are you sick of seeing me cry? Is that why?
No, definitely not, bro. I know what it's like to get emotional, and I know that it can be draining, and I just want to be respectful to you. And I'd like to do a follow-up in a week or two. If we can, like, I'm gonna sound like a fucking doctor here. I'd like to do a follow-up, Mr. Morrow, if you don't mind. But I'd like to have you back on for a follow-up podcast in a couple of weeks, because I feel like the would want to see it. I'd like obviously for you to take a week to relax, obviously, and we can talk about obviously when we're going to do it. But if you're down with it, I'd like to have it it again.
Absolutely, I think. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's funny because I didn't think that this podcast was going to go the way it went, and
I didn't think
Hayes ring in.
Yeah, that's old,
like I thought it'd be like, I would just hold my tongue and talk about America, and how many toilets are clogged, and I met Billy Gunn and shit, like silly stories and stuff. Like I don't think I expected to get as deep as it did, but I guess here we are. I think for me, that it was kind of like a version of me getting stuff off my chest, I think.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's felt like the past 6 months that I've been home, it's kind of, that has really weighed on me in the way of like, I do feel like pressure, like, because like I mentioned before, I think I had the blind hope that something would happen from January, April, come back, and then it's kind of hasn't really paid off for me as of yet. But
it's like, bro, patience, bro, patience, and I feel like, as we said, this podcast probably didn't really go the way we either expected it to go, but it's okay. And I feel like we got like, I want, like, honestly, I just want to make sure you're okay. And like, that's why, like, I think ending it now is probably the most appropriate, just so like we'll have a quick chat. We'll have a chat off air and stuff like that.
Like if you still want to keep going, I'm easy. If you want to hear bullshit stories or something.
Nah, dude. Let's pick it up in a couple of weeks, bro. And I'm sure our audience is everyone who's tuned in tonight will be down to tune in again. And we'll either pre-record or do it live. Hopefully, I don't have any other connection issues. But guys, make sure you go and check out the Lee Morrow on social media. Lee, where can everyone find you, bro? Give yourself a quick plug.
I don't have Twitter, unfortunately. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at The Australian Hero. On Facebook, it's The Lee Morrow, The Australian Hero. I think that's pretty much it. There's no Snapchat. There's no OnlyFans. It's just those two.
There you go. I'm having connection issues all fucking right.
Whoopsie doopsie. Yeah.
Whoopsie doopsie. But guys, thank you for everyone for tuning in. Make sure you click that like, share, subscribe button. Until next time, we'll see you again very soon. Take care. All the best. Peace.